try new things. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, I'm Hanifah Walida,
And I am Red Summer.
and we are your gay aunties.
Hey, babies.
Hey, babies.
Listen, we are trying out some new things. And even as aunties, we want to grow. Okay. We had Angie Harvey on, and we know that if we're not growing, we're dying. So we want to make sure that we are testing out new technologies. And for those of you all who are just joining us, now that we have this new technology, then you would want to know that Your Gay Aunties is a weekly podcast that is centered around queer adulting. So if you want Auntie Red or Auntie Hanifa to answer any questions that you have about life or love or any of your good gay experiences that you are having, then go ahead and send us a letter at yourgayaunties@gmail.com. You can also Instagram or Twitter us at your gay aunties.
Yes, yes. And so, like Auntie Red says, we are coming to you live. Something new we're trying. And there are already a couple of people up in the comments section like, trying to give us some technical advice, like, check the sound, girl. Like, y'all looking good, though. All right. Thank you, Diamond. So this is how we're going to do this. Because this is also, we're also going to take the audio from this, and actually it will be the podcast. And as those of you who have been following us from the beginning, you know that is one of the things we have struggled with in getting crystal clear audio. So hopefully YouTube will help us with that. But the reason why we're doing this is Sunday Brunch. It's fourth Sunday, all right? So as you know, those who are our Patreon supporters, with Sunday Brunch, that's when we have our guests, and I just go in and have fun. And whereas in the past, we have taped the show and then put it up only for you guys to have, but what we're trying now here is a live version. So if this works, if it works, if
And you like it.
and you like it, we are going to then be coming to you live for Sunday Brunch. And if this works and the sound is good, we may be bringing your gay aunties, our regular show, to you live, or not so much live, but pre-recorded via this medium. So all that being said, okay, for those of you who do come into the comments section, please formulate your questions for our guests, but we want to wait until we introduce our guests. We want to wait until we talk and get in it with our guests and they tell you their story. Okay, and so please formulate your questions for our guests, because of course in the latter half of the show we are going to answer your questions, or just about life, what have you. But our theme for this month is family, and that's why we have family in the house. And with that said, I'm gonna pass it over to Red, all right, to introduce our guests.
Yes, so I wanted to bring some of my family in for Family Month. So we have my sister, my big sister, Tisha, and my niece, Leah.
Y'all can
And
talk.
you all can say hi to the people now.
Hey everyone, I'm the mom. I'm the mom.
I think that was evident. But hi, our niece Leah.
And it's so
She goes
funny.
by Lauren.
She goes by
Yes,
Lauren,
Lauren.
Yeah.
Lauren.
Yeah.
All right. And it's so funny because when we first had you guys trying to figure all this out, we was like, all right, so who the mother, who the daughter? But you know how that is. It don't crack with us, especially with black women.
Absolutely.
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 So y'all, just tell us. Red told me that you guys have an amazing story as a mother and daughter. So we'll just start there, and you guys just
Okay.
walk us through your story.
Okay. Well, I guess to be honest with you, Lauren came out to me when she was 12, but I knew when she was about 6. Um, I remember it, and just so vividly, I remember it was Thanksgiving. Her birthday falls on Thanksgiving every so often. And I bought her this big Barbie dream house, and I had her bows in her hair. And she came down, the first thing she said was, "Where's my football?" The bow was gone. The clothes were tore up. She lost her first tooth in football. And I remember my other sister and I looking at each other and we just said, yeah. And I knew, but I waited on her to tell me because it was her story to tell me. So when she was 12, she came out to me. She wrote me a letter.
Mm.
And I was actually sitting in the very bedroom I'm sitting in now in this very section. And she said, the letter said, I'm a homosexual. Homosexual was in big letters. And so I looked at her and I said, you're a lesbian. I know. And did you do your homework? And I
Exactly.
think the fact that me accepting her, because I believe that love who you love as long as you're happy.
Mm-hmm.
It allowed her to just walk in her authenticity. Now we did have an issue where she didn't tell me that she wasn't comfortable in girly clothes, so I bought girl clothes. But
Mm.
she was going over her friend's house and changing into
Every
clothes
day before school.
every
Every
day.
single day
So
before
when I
school.
realized she was doing this, I just looked at her and said, "Why didn't you say so?" So
Hmm.
let's go shopping and get you what you're comfortable wearing. So we went
Wow.
shopping. I got her what she wanted to wear, and that was it. Now I ain't like a couple of them girlfriends. Oh, I didn't like a couple of them because they was raggedy. But I've had throughout the journey, people would tell me, "How do you feel having a lesbian daughter?" And I'm like, "Well, how do you feel being a grandmother at 30?"
Woo.
So don't judge what's over here. Worry about over there. So yeah, she went to
Ooh.
prom in her suits. How many proms did you go on, Lynn? How many suits, tuxedos did I have to rent? I allowed her to
Um,
live her life. And that's, as parents, we have to love them, support them, and help them walk in what's true to them. I hate when people, come to me like, how do you feel? About what?
Mm.
About what? You know, I just want her to be happy. I love how silly she is. I love how bold she is with it because she'll let you know. I don't like him now in high school, freshman year. She went to homecoming with a boy because she thought
it
that's what I
wasn't
wanted.
homecoming. It was his prom.
Oh, somebody's prom or something. She was miserable.
Mm.
And I was like, well, you don't have to do that. It ain't, I don't care what nobody say because I'll fight a brick wall for you. I had, when we have family functions, Leah, oh, she likes to go by Lauren, and whatever, she would have a girlfriend. Yeah, come on over because if you say something about mine, I'm going to clear the whole place out.
Mm.
This is my child. I love that she is so comfortable in her own skin. I saw her very recently. She came home to visit and just laying her head on me because she's still my big baby and she's still about a foot taller than me. But I just love, and I'm thankful that even though I was raised in a very Christian household, my family, and I'm talking saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, baptized at the age of 2, speaking in tongues by the age of 3,
Mm.
no one judged her.
Mm. So the
And
entire
because
family was supportive.
to this day, because I demanded it for her. And if you can't be down with my baby, then I can't be down with you, blood or not. And and that's how I've always been with her.
You know,
Period.
I'm listening to this, and I have some more questions off the bat, but I want to switch it to you, Lauren. And as the
Hmm.
child, what was the experience? Because this is the experience that many of us don't have. You know, from the extreme of get out the house to even having parents that don't know how to quite deal with it, and it takes them a minute to kind of get their rhythm going. But so was it? What was it for you as a child to come right from the giddy up into an accepting with an accepting mother and family?
For me, I appreciate it. I have a lot of friends who all of their people are like, no, you can't. This is not you. It's a phase. Like I still have family members that to this day still say it's a phase, and I'm just like, okay, cool. If you feel that way, you feel that way. But like, I appreciate it because a lot of my friends don't talk to their parents, so
Hold
they
on,
don't have that
real quick,
relationship.
real quickly. That's on
You
her
got my
father's side. It
attention.
ain't on my side. Her father's side, not my side.
So for me, it's like for me, it was just it was nice having that in a household where I'm not being called out my name or I'm not fighting or I'm not having to figure out where I'm going to lay my head because my mom don't like it and my dad don't like it. It was kind of like this is gonna who you're gonna be, so do it right, do it properly, and enjoy life. So I appreciate them for that, all of that, like all the time.
Wow.
And it's not hard. Like for me, it wasn't as hard as other people. So like I appreciate not having um I guess regrets about my decision because a lot of my friends, like two of my friends are married and they don't want to be married like at all. Like they don't like these
You
guys
two,
and
your
these
queer
guys
friends are
know that they
married?
don't like these guys. Yeah, two of my used to be lesbian friends are now in full relationships, expecting kids, and they're just like you can tell through their social media that it's like this is not what you really wanted. This isn't what you really want to do, but you couldn't. Your mom wasn't going to accept it. Your family was going to shun you and not rock with you. So now you're married and about to have kids, and I'm just like, can't be me. I can't do it. Sorry. So
Well, I mean, that's always a phenomenon, and I'm like, it's such a process and such a journey just to be out, but it's
hmm
also a process to be in. Um, but one hurts, and the other one is liberating. So
Yeah.
so that's always like a woo. Anyway, please continue.
So I kind of want to
Mm-hmm.
mention, well, having taught high school, I was at a high school that was not very progressive, I will say, at the time, as far as the LGBT students who were there. Um, and so when Lauren came to my school, like that kind of kicked it up into gear for me. Whereas, like, I could only fight so much for the other students who were coming through my school. Like, this is my baby now. So, there are certain things that I'm not going to allow to happen to her in this place. And it was very helpful for me that I wasn't fighting for Lauren while I was fighting mom as well. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And because I have the picture, and we always, we post it every now and then of Lauren in her prom dress. But um also being able to make sure that we fought for when Lauren's prom came, that she was able to take her girlfriend, and that they were able to go to prom together in whatever they wanted to wear. Like, that was a fight that we had to go through with the administration of the school. And those little things, like, it doesn't seem like it like is a major thing, right? And you can go to prom, you can wear the dress one time, whatever. Like, people dismiss it as it not being very just like fundamental. But I know adults who are still going to proms because they didn't get to go to prom like the way that they wanted to, or they didn't get to um, have the experience that they really wanted to have. And that's one thing that Lauren doesn't have to continue to keep dredging up and recreating, because she had family that was willing to be there to fight for her, to make sure that she was seen and she was represented in the way that she felt most comfortable, right? And so having a mom that was like, no, absolutely, if I'm paying for the prom, then my girl can wear whatever she want to wear, right? um, and having that background, there's a lot of times, as faculty, that you're trying to advocate for children in a way, to do what's right, but the parents don't have your back. And so I just wanted to, like, just applaud that situation. I know that there that it cannot possibly have been all roses, right? Because there are things that, mothers and daughters bump heads on all the time. But I think being supportive, right? And that's what, our concept of family, especially this month that we've been talking about, like having that supportive background, having people there who see you and who love you and who accept you, is the most important thing, right? Of all. Because whether that's your blood family, whether that's the family that you choose, like, and
Hmm.
like that's going to make or break a person's confidence, how they move in the world, how they
Yep.
Yeah,
live.
and that's is when we say your parents have your back. It's not just the specifics of, well, okay, I support you as a queer person, and a lot of people just see that as quote unquote who you love or who you have sex with, but really is your whole how you walk in this world. And I think, and I'm sure a teacher can kind of sound off on this. It's like when you supporting your child, it's really, you know, cause look, what job do we have to bring them through, right, until they on their own. But if you cut them off too early, then it's susceptible to the world or the ills of the world, and they don't have what they need to navigate that crap. Would you agree, Lateesha?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I remember one time I was in a relationship with this guy, and it was a long-term relationship. And I found out that he said something about my daughter to his daughter. And it was in a situation of watch out for her because she's gay.
Mm.
I ended the relationship there.
Say a word.
I was like, are you serious when the profile of a pedophile is a middle-aged, middle American white married man? You're talking about a sexual molester, you're talking about my daughter because she loves women? I was like, nah, I can't rock with this. I had to make sure this world is cruel.
Mm.
And I had to make sure that number one, being a woman, being a lesbian, and being black, she was going to have enough heart. And she's not a feminine. She's not the feminine type. You know, I hate them little sagging pants, but that's another story. But I had to teach her that if there's no place that's safe, it's home. But I also taught her this. When you come home, you can cry, you can scream, you can break down here. Don't you ever let them. I don't want to cuss on your podcast, but don't you ever
Please, girl.
don't you ever let them motherfuckers out there see you cry, see you break down. Don't you let nobody think that they got you. But when
Mm.
you come home, you got your time to break down. But when you walk out that door, you put on that face and that you let them know. That's how I raised her. That's what I believe. The
Mm.
outside is cruel, but you gonna be okay in this house. You're gonna be protected in this house. And if I'm out with you and somebody say something, I'm a fighter. Let's just say that.
Sorry.
Sorry. And I let it be known. This one right here, I wish you would.
You know, you really bringing up a good point as far as like because when you don't have a sanctuary that you can run to
Hmm.
and kind of purge away the world, that outside world, then and you're kind of left in the outside world. It's like part of you wants to break down, but because you know that makes you even more vulnerable. Sometimes what you resort to is fighting literally or fighting not
Hmm.
unnecessarily but putting yourself in situations where you just stay fighting. You know what I mean? That's your reaction to thing to start swinging to like
Yeah,
because you're trying to protect yourself and you don't really have a place where you can just do that in private. You know what I
that's true.
mean?
That
And
is true.
that's a really good point, and that echoes what we're trying to say. What is the duty of family to their children? Period. You know what I'm
Well, I
saying?
also I also believe it takes a village. I truly
Mm.
believe in that, and I don't can't tell you how my daughter's friends will come to me and just say, "Ma, thank you. You were my safe haven. Being able to come over here and be who I am, I appreciate that. I can't do that at home. This is
Mm.
where I'm at home. This is where I feel safe."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to this day, if I run into one of them or they find me on Facebook, they be like, "Ma, oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, I miss you. Oh, I remember those days. You would bring us in, let us eat, laugh, talk, and
Hmm.
be who they wanted to be because those were all my babies. Those were her friends. Those were her brothers and sisters. So I can't I never wanted a child growing up and coming into who they truly are to feel that they couldn't be who they were and feel that they weren't safe. And I think that stems from Yana tell you it comes from not always having a stable upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to make sure that they had that because I didn't have that all the time. So
Mm.
it was important. It was definitely important for me to let allow that here and and stop the generational curses and cycles of you better do this, you better do not, you better not have sex before you get married. Well, I had a baby at 18. There goes
Mm-hmm.
that one.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then and that's why I like, and I don't remember the exact percentages, but suicide is rampant.
Mm-hmm.
for our young adults and our teens.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be
Mm,
damned if my baby was hanging from a light bulb in that closet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
we have to advocate for our children no matter what. Our job is to love them and
Mm-hmm.
protect them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
So I'm glad that you're bringing this point up because we had a letter last week from a young person who
I was just
was,
thinking about her.
yeah, she was kind of struggling with um, like how to come out to her parents, um, and especially, I think it was.
Her name was
Oh yeah, she was
Kid.
also
Mm-hmm.
kid. Yeah, she was also more masculine leaning. Um, and she had already seen her parents kind of like cut off other family members who
Mm.
had come out, and so
And
she was very nervous about that. As a mom who has gone through this experience, can you speak to, or can Lauren kind of speak to this experience of coming out to parents, to family, like how, like, can you give us
in
some
particular,
advice?
because you said, Lateesha, that you also come from a somewhat highly religious family, and this young person also came from a dare I say Bible thumping family.
Mm.
And let me just say before you answer, she did email us back, and we told her, listen, keep us posted on what's happening with you, and she
Okay.
said that unfortunately, before she heard the episode, she decided to come out to her mother.
Mhm.
Mm,
Okay, and in doing that, her mother did surprise her and didn't kick her out the house. But now her mother got them going to therapy, to which, but the kind of therapy like, well, this is really for you. You know what I mean? Maybe you
Mhm.
can therapeutically get
ungay
this
you.
ungay you. And I did write her back and say,
Mhm.
listen, though your mother didn't do the extreme of kicking you out, you still need to be in a state of urgency.
Hmm.
How
Because
old is she?
21. So she's not a baby.
Okay.
She's
Okay.
21, but she felt that her situation was that she at this point felt that she wasn't in a financial place to go on her own. So we were trying pushing her. Well, need to start putting them ducks in a row, honey.
Yes, absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely. What she needs to do, and what I would say is, just like a battered woman, look at her over there fussing. Just like a battered woman, she needs to make an escape plan,
Mm.
and she needs to stick to it.
Mm.
Lauren, tell Madison I said to hush. And she needs she needs to make an escape plan, and she needs to write it down, make it clear, and go from there. Ideally, step off the camera if you need to have a
I'm
conversation,
fine.
because we
So
talking serious stuff.
I know. So I said I'm fine. I'm good. Um, Mom, that sounds like a great plan. It does, but they are also not one of us. So to say that an escape plan,
Hmm.
for me, you don't want to escape your family. You want them to appreciate you. You want their love. When you don't have their love, it shows, and it shows in how you love other people,
Mm.
Good
and
point.
it shows the the the, the lack thereof.
Okay.
And it's not fair to the person in your relationship when you have lack thereof because of how you were loved. So just to escape, you can't just run away from everything. So I feel like it sounds like a nice plan, but then you still need that. You still want that support. Like I feel like if I didn't have y'all, I would be a completely different person. Like
So, what
completely.
happens when you don't have the support, as a mom speaking,
Mm-hmm.
because you have experience with your friends? What happens when you don't have that support? Do you stay with your family because that's your stability, or do you make your escape
But
plan?
not emotional stability.
Exactly.
Um, as far as I mean, you can have y'all can accept me, and I can still have toxic parenting. Like
Mm.
I've been accepted, and I still grew up with other issues. So it's about learning to teach your parents. Except like my ex girlfriend, her mom wasn't necessarily accepting up front, but eventually has grown to be comfortable and be around her significant others and to participate in certain activities where it's not like oh them gays gonna be there, oh your little friend, like
Your
so
little
as
friend.
far as like it's about if your family is, explain it to them. Like, I think we're in a generation now where it's not that hard to explain something to somebody. So simply, this is what I like. I won't disrespect your household. I won't have you out here looking at me like I'm this type of person, but I am going to, you know, do what I want to do that makes me happy. I'm gonna love who I want to love. It makes me happy. And if somebody really, 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 really deep down loves you like you people say they love their children or their family, it's not gonna say okay. Because at the end of the day, when I'm dead and gone, you have to be satisfied with how you lived your life. And if you spent your whole life being somebody you weren't, you're not gonna be happy. You're gonna be sad for the rest of your life.
Well, let me. I just want to. I want to jump in, and I definitely hear what you're saying, Lauren. But this is something we said actually last week, and I do want to reiterate it. And you are so privileged and so blessed to have a mom to even to formulate your thoughts like that. That comes because from jump you had a mom who was supportive. Now the thing with coming out, whether it's a varying degrees of support, whether someone's extreme like get out my house, or someone that is uncomfortable but they like your ex, or I'm sorry, your girlfriend, saying her mom wasn't with it at first, but she eventually got with it. Because I can say that the same about my mom. But I realized that the way you support your family is first supporting yourself. And that to really find your voice in being queer, you need that sanctuary space. You need to be able to think. You need to be outside of toxicity. And being that this particular person is an adult technically, though still young, she is empowered in a way to say, if she was 15, 16, she wouldn't be as empowered. So she's empowered in a way that, okay, let me get out of this situation. Let me find some sense of sanctuary somewhere, even if it's just queer roommates. And then she starts to find her voice, and her strength and her ability to actually help guide her parents, or her mother, I think in this case, to a place of acceptance. But one thing I think a lot of young people do is they're not quite mature enough to help guide their parents because they're young. When you're newly coming out, it's kind of like breaking through the wall like Kool-Aid man, You know what I mean? And it's a lot, it can be a lot for anybody. And
Yeah.
sometimes you can be sloppy when you're young. So at the same time you're coming out, but you still sloppy because you're trying to figure things out, and then you're trying to deal with this toxicity at the same time. And it's just becomes a whole toxic, hot mess. Sometimes you need to step away. You need to get away, dare escape, until you get your footing, and that's why when I came out to my father, some years after my mother got the Kool-Aid version, right? Whereas my father got okay, I've been out for a while, and he was the one who was the most homophobic, so I mean, unfortunately he passed still being highly homophobic, but the coming out process was a lot easier because I was very clear on what I wanted to say, and even more importantly how to present myself as his daughter. Forget about the queer thing, as his daughter, now having my footing in life. What can you say? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So that's why our suggestions was that she does need to think about herself first, honestly, and her parents second. Because honestly, look, she didn't choose them, but they chose her. All right. so so now that she coming into her own, what I mean, get the hell out the house. Because you're going to have to do that anyway. You 20
Yes.
something. You moving towards that anyway. Whether you was queer or not, your ass is leaving the house at some point anyway. Get out the house and come back when you're ready. And let them deal with them. But anyway, but the point is that she already out now. You know what I mean? She came out to her mom, but at this point she's in a place where I suggested to her, I said, listen, this coming out process with your parents is an ebb and flow for them too. So things may seem okay now, but it can totally switch.
Yep.
And in a
Mm-hmm.
minute, and then all of a sudden you're vulnerable again. So you still need to be in the getting out mode. So let your mom go through her ebbs and flows or what have you, and then y'all can meet when y'all need to meet to talk about it. But at the end of the day, you got a roof that is not dependent on whether she says you got it or not. That's what I'm saying. You know,
That's true. That's
that's
true.
real. It's
There are a
real.
lot of parents who do struggle with this, for all
Mm.
the reasons that that you know about, especially religiously. Um, and I know that, for T, you're kind of just like, and like,
I
but
love the Lord. I love the Lord. And the Lord loves me. And he loves my daughter. And I'll tell you something. I don't go by that whole traditional you going to hell for this, that, and the other. I had a really big debate with this obese guy, and I was like, you walk in your so-called sin. If this is a sin, you walk in your sin, you live it every day. But at the end of the day, if I need somebody to pray for me, I can call my daughter and she's a prayer warrior.
Mm. Mm.
So I don't, no. And a lot of them hiding behind religion and know they need to live their truth with their boyfriend. Because most of the choir, I ain't gonna get on that. The choir wouldn't be as good as it is if it wasn't now.
well, can we help some of the parents? Because I know, like with you people, like when we did the movie, that was something that was helpful for a lot of people to have this conversation with their parents. For those who might be using this podcast now, is there something that you can say for parents to kind of help them to be as accepting as you have been?
Um, Realizing first of all, love them. That's the first and foremost. React out of love. I knew, so it wasn't a surprise. I knew, but one of the things I realized when I was young, I lived my life on my life's terms. I did not restrict myself to him or her. I opened myself up to love how I felt I wanted to love. Um, with with being a parent, I realized I didn't do everything right. I did what I wanted to do. Your children do what they want to do. I have to sometimes step back and say, I was young when I had them. I screwed up. I made my mistakes. You know, my sin ain't no bigger than yours. Yo, and I hate the term sin when you're dealing with love. It irks my soul. So, but what I say is to parents, be open, be kind, be honest, and if and to those who are struggling to come out, write a letter. Write a letter. Put it under the door. Let them read it. Like my daughter wrote me a letter, even though I already knew. She wrote me a letter. Write a letter. That was her way of feeling comfortable without. A lot of kids don't know how to stand in front of you. A lot of kids don't know how to stand in front of you and just tell the truth. Yeah, I broke that. Yeah, I drank that. I ate that donut. So how are they going to just stand in front of you with something that vulnerable and say, "Ma, I'm gay. Ma, I think I'm a girl."
Mm.
We have to, and so most people, even though a lot of people say some people are very confrontational, the average person does not like confrontation, and so they don't know how it's going to be. So Leah felt safe writing me a letter. I appreciate that. I still have that letter with her little cross outs and homosexual and big bold letters across of it.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And when
So
you write a letter, like you can't be interrupted. Like you get a
you
chance to say everything.
exactly. She wrote everything out for me. She told me why. And I was like, all right, cool. And if that's what makes a person feel safer. Also, another thing I would say, and this is just to the children for me, tell them in a public place if you want to have that face to face with somebody you feel safe with. Because it's some parents that'll jump on you, some folks that'll jump on, what you mean you gay? Not in this motherfucking house. You know, but if you're somewhere and you with someone that feels safe, who will protect you and have your back, that helps too. But at the end of the day, as a parent, man, I don't know. I just can't imagine being that closed minded and not loving my child so much, enough that I wouldn't just be like, all right. Now I did still have same rules. You ain't gonna be up there laid up. You ain't gonna be laid up now.
The
You don't want
There's
to see
some
me
sleepover.
laid
things
up.
that
I don't want to
regardless,
see
I'm
you
like,
laid up.
nah.
Still my child, still my baby. Like I said, you don't want to see me laid up. I don't want to see you laid up.
Say word. Say word.
There we go.
Say word.
But she's come home and visited with girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
Her girlfriends have stayed here because they, hey, they need a place. And that's who I was. I
Mm.
needed everybody to feel safe. But for parents, I would say just let them, make them feel safe. Just, just love them. I can't express, just love them. I remember going through with my son at one point, and the best advice I ever got from someone was just love them.
Mm.
And it helped me to relate to him different and relate to Leah different. Leah is my survivor, go getter, kick it in the world, gonna tell you she gonna move to Timbuktu tomorrow and have her bags packed in the morning. Talking about my flight reservation is there. Can you get me to the airport? But everybody isn't as strong as she is.
Mm-hmm.
And because she's always been strong. Even when she called me crying, and I sit there and be like, okay, baby, get it all out. And then she'd be like, I'm all right, mom. I'm all right now. I got it out. I'd be like, all right, you all right now? Okay. But again, I know I've said this a couple of times. Love, 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 love. Love in its purest form. Love does not carry sorrow. Love does not carry confusion. It does not carry hurt. It does not make you feel less than. Love in its purest form is just amazing.
Mm.
And that's what I got for her.
Say word.
Lauren,
I,
I know that like for our generation, we had a completely different um cross to bear, so to speak. Do you feel like coming out is still like really relevant now? Like, is it like how is that experience for young people like your age and younger?
As far as I've experienced, my generation kind of makes a, it's like a, most of us have come out, but it's a lot of us whose parents are like still confused or like, yeah, I still haven't told my mom. And I'm like, well, how does your mom not know? Like, are you sure your mom doesn't know? But with with the generation before us, it was like you got to come out, you got to tell people because everybody was so oblivious. But now it's kind of like a lot of us aren't telling our parents because either you're gonna like figure it out or and I don't want it.
hmm.
It's a don't ask, don't tell policy. So if you don't ask me if I'm gay, cool. I'm not gonna tell you I'm gay. I'm gonna just act like we just don't know, and you can keep calling me my little friend. But over the summer, I worked with teens, and it was one of my teens that I worked with. She was like, we used to make fun of them, like there's no some like unnecessary, but like oh you over there flirting? I see you trying to because they're like 16, 17. They're between the ages of 14 to 16. So it's like I see you over there getting cute. I see you. And one girl just kept like she always was negative. She's like Miss Lauren, please don't do that. Like stop. And I thought it was because she just felt uncomfortable. But later during the school year, she sent me a message like I really need to talk to you, Miss Lauren. I'm like what's up? And she's like I want to tell my mom I like girls. And I was like, oh, wow. And I felt bad because I'm like, wait, my gaydar didn't go off. You did dress like a little boy through the whole summer. I thought you were a little tomboy. But it's become so norm in the society now for little girls to dress how they want to that I automatically
Mm.
didn't assume, oh, this little girl's gay because I didn't know. Like she was always with the girly girls and she would play basketball with the boys and stuff. But like she 100% was like, oh, I'm an athlete, and I'm so, oh, she just plays softball. She regular, and ended up being like, I wanted to tell my mom, and I wanted, me and my girlfriend are having arguments right now, and I'm like, wait, girlfriend, when did this happen? Like, I thought you were liking such and such. And she's like, no, Miss Lauren, I just never fed into it because I actually like girls, and I was like, oh, cool. So I think it just kind of came out to me. So do the same thing with your mom. But she also comes from a like Hispanic background, so I know for them it's way harder to come out because
Oh,
they don't,
yeah.
Mm.
you can't play those games with them. So like I also just feel like it's also a trend right now. So as far as people coming out, sometimes I'm like, somebody's like, oh, I didn't know such and such is gay, and in my head I'm like, they're not. They're bored. Somebody hurt their feelings. They need something. Like us, my generation of
But you know,
lesbians
it's
have it to where if you didn't come out before a certain time, you're just doing it for trend. If you weren't in the trenches changing your clothes when you had to change
You
your
wasn't shooting
clothes,
in the gym with me.
you
in the
weren't shooting in the
trenches.
gym. You can't be a if you don't have to go through people, like I lost so many friends. Like I remember when I did come out at 12, I couldn't go to sleepovers anymore. I got uninvited to things.
Mm,
I lost a lot of friends, and I grew up in a gated community, so like my friends in my gated community, they didn't change anything though. Like I remember the day I told them like, hey, so you're probably gonna hear from somebody else because I tried to kiss such and such. So look, this is what's happening, and they were like, oh, okay, and continued to treat me as if you're just a regular person. But it was people's parents who were like, oh my God, this little girl came out at 12. Oh, her mother must be letting her run amok in that house. You cannot spend the night at my house. So like I really got, it was like I lost a lot of friends, and
mm.
which is weird because a lot of them are now like actually in female like lesbian relationships, and I'm just like, you just fronted your move all through high school. You pretended to have a boyfriend all through high school, and now you're like, I remember getting suspended the first day of school, like on my freshman year of high school, because some girl lied when she was coming on to me and said,
I was going
oh,
to mention that.
oh no,
I
I'm
was
not.
going to mention
I
that.
don't like her. She's been texting me by herself, and I was like, these
And we
text
had
messages
all of
seem
the
like a
text messages.
conversation. She just deleted one side. Like she
I'm
thought the
sorry, your
conversation
mother's
was
like, we got the receipts. We got.
I
oh no,
remember
like
this. No,
it
because I
was
had to go up to the school.
100%.
It was a girl who would call
I
my
text
daughter 24/7. They were texting back and forth, and then she apparently her mother must have seen it, and so she called up to the school. It was a big to do, and my daughter's not gay. And I said, but she's texting my daughter. I have them all here.
saying
This
for
goes
me.
both ways.
So it's
And
just
her mother still
as
didn't want to believe
wow.
it.
So as far as like my generation goes, it's a trend. All of us, half of these girls are gay for pay. Half these girls are gay because baby
Mm.
daddy number six broke their heart, and they just want somebody to help take care of their kids. So you have to wade through who's
Oh,
really
see,
coming out, and then who's just being, you know, I like guys and girls, but right now I'm more into girls. That's not real. That's
Yeah,
fake.
yeah, we talk about that
There's
all the
no such thing
time.
as right now I'm more into girls. No, you just like who you like, which is fair, but like you don't have to convince me that you like girls more than you like girls.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. For those who
it's a
listen
trend.
who are like the who are the trenders, I said don't insult our intelligence. Don't insult who we are. You know, and if you're not aware, it's the most disrespectful thing to say. Well, I'm into you right now. You
Yeah,
know,
because
it's like I'm
right
not
now
going
that
to
means if you wake up
experiment.
tomorrow, you could wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, changed my mind. I'm not into girls anymore. Then I'm be sitting there looking stupid like with the lesbian face, like, but I thought we loved each other. No, I don't want that. I just feel like they don't take it seriously. So a lot of
So
people don't take it
it's
seriously.
interesting, like you said, because you said a couple things there, where it's like on one end, as far in regards to your generation or how you see your generation, because visibility, we passed the visibility point. Now it's more like for some people, or access rather, is
Yeah.
easier. People aren't shamed as much to say, "Oh, I'm gay, or I'm bi, or I'm this, I'm that, whatever. I'm trying this out, whatever, whatever, whatever." That's easier. But then you also said that as far as the coming out process, for me, sounds like my generation is like I'm just gonna hold and say I ain't gonna say shit until and I just want for me that's a little bit kind of moonwalking backwards a little bit in the sense that because this is something that I realized myself is like it's one thing. Oh, the reason why you come out is not so much to inform your parents that you are sexually attracted to the same sex. The reason is so that your parents can experience you as a whole person. You know what I mean? Because who you're
Hmm.
attracted to is connected to who your community is, who your friends are, the decisions you make in life, the job you take. And this is something we kind of hinted to before that, like especially if you're masculine leaning. It's something we
Hmm.
said in the last episode. Red said that that is really big on what kind of career you're looking for, and sometimes some careers are really not accepting of masculine women, or you have to dress a certain way to be in this, say, a corporate environment if that's your thing. So then what do, and who do you talk to? It'd be good to talk to your parents. You know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
all it's
If you
all
can.
connected. Exactly, it's all connected.
Yeah.
So I hope your generation is not holding their tongues, like, cause I mean I look at y'all and I'm like, wow, I wish I could be 12, and and have that that kind of
Yeah, but
freedom
then
at 12.
it
I'm like,
also leaves the
man,
door open for a lot of confusion because I have a lot of friends right now who are choosing to transition and choosing to take tea and then waking up the next day and then being like, maybe I don't want to do it. And once you start that journey, you can't stop that journey. And so So it's like still a lot of confusion as far as what people feel about themselves. So I feel like that's why also coming out seems easy on our spectrum, but it's not, because then you do have the people in the gay community who aren't accepting of that stuff. Like, I still haven't wrapped my head around certain things. I texted my mom about pronouns the other day. I feel like I do want to change my pronouns, but then I feel like I don't, because I don't feel like explaining to people why I want to change my pronouns, because everybody's like, oh, well, do you really want to change your pronouns? And it's like, I do, but I don't.
But
I
what
don't
was
know.
my
So it's
response?
like,
What was my response though?
if I wanted to go by they or them, you would call me they or them, and you would be cool with it. So like, it's just
So you
about
don't worry about that.
no. So I know I get you. What I'm saying is just that. So it's a lot of confusion as far as coming out. Because what are you coming out to? And then when you do come out, are you being accepted by us? Because we have a tendency to be like, oh, okay, well, you could be like I date. I'm attracted to no labels. I don't. I used to go for the girly girls, but like I kind of tend to lean towards more of that now. And all my friends are like, oh, you like studs? Oh no, that's gay. And I'm like, what? Like, we all still wear girls. We all still wear girls under clothes, and it's like, nah, bro. But that's like when you done, who gonna put the boy pants on? Both of us. I don't know. I don't understand this question. So
Well, I just want to let you know we
it's
got a
like,
whole episode where we had a Sunday brunch, a couple of Sunday brunches ago, and our Sunday brunch guest was Stud Slayer.
oh yeah, I know stuff.
Okay, all right.
Oh my God, my name's so sad.
But that is, you're right. That's right. There's one thing to come
So it's
out
like,
to your parents or the quote unquote straight world or whatever, but then there is a coming out process within the queer world, because with the new freedom, there's a lot of space. And I dare say that, as long as queer people have been around, and we've been around for centuries, it's this past 2, 3, 4 generations who are really defining, really seeing what the landscape is and pushing the envelope. It's like, we as human beings, what are we capable of? Who are we capable of loving? How are we capable of expressing ourselves in the world? And that is still a continual journey. So what I hear Lauren saying is on, one end, like, yay, we could be out. Okay, now I'm out. Now what? Oh, is there more? Or no, I'm cool with this. And I always say that, because we had a whole episode when we first started and we got a lot of flack for it, but we was really trying to unpack the whole pronoun thing and the use of pronouns. Because I'm very big, like, my pronoun is Hanifah Walida. How about that? How about we have a conversation, see if we can fucking like each other? And we don't fucking like each other, we don't need to be talking no more. So don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also linguistic, and I've traveled. And I'm like, outside of America, our language says he or she. And we use they because we're trying to figure out how to, find those expressions of where we feel comfortable. But as soon as your ass leave the country, now you got to deal with a whole nother language palette. That they're like, they don't know what the hell we talking about, and it's not cultural, it literally is language, So this broad world, that there's so much that we have to still learn from each other. So I really want to just say to those listening that we have to remain open. Nothing is in stone. We are human beings. We're ever evolving. And generations beyond this, it's going to look different than how we're seeing it now. We have to allow for that space as well. That's just us as human beings. Forget about the queer shit. This is just human beings we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm even kind of playing, like, just replaying what Lauren said and looking at it from a position of really privileged now, right? So like, young people today get to test out all of the possibilities of their gender expression, of their sexuality, of all of that, with the language that is there to describe it, with all of these supports and groups and social communities and things like that, that I feel like, when I came out, it was like gay, straight.
Like, and I remember that conversation you and I had when you did.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. When my baby sister came, I said, okay. And she was like, that's it? Yeah.
See, I kind of broke her in for you.
But I appreciate that. But that also goes back to, as far as privilege goes, like, yeah, we do have a lot of social groups, but then it just goes back to me having to say, you also have to tiptoe around these social groups, because God forbid if I say on lesbian Twitter that I'm homophobic. everybody's like, how are you gay and homophobic? And it's not I'm homophobic. I'm people phobic. I just don't like people who are extra, who tend to do too much. Like on the spectrum of lesbian, I don't like the studs who are like, you gonna call me him and daddy, and I'm a boy, but I'm not gonna take T and be a boy. And I'm like, no, that's not fair. You can't like straddle the fence of wanting to be him, but you don't want to take the steps to be him, because there are really people fighting with their identity right now. There are people who really, really, really feel like they're in the wrong body. But here you are walking around with a permanent strap on, like, yeah, I'm him. No, you're not. And then 26 seconds later, be like, she don't love me no more. Well, him, why you crying? If you're trying to be so aggressive, but then I also don't like those. Um, People tend to say that gay men act like black women, and I'm always one to correct them and be like, no, gay men act like gay men. They don't act like black women. I've never seen a black woman act to that extent of extreme. So no, he's acting like a gay man. So, and also we don't have to put the title on it. We don't have to be like, oh, he acting like, no, he's acting like himself. If he want to wear these heels and walk around, but in our generation's acceptance, we like, well, you can be gay, but you can't be gay. And then it's like, well, then I don't have that privilege then. I don't have the privilege of being comfortable. Like, I couldn't tell
What's
anybody
gay
that my
gay?
girlfriend. So I'm gay because I date studs. Like, I refuse to date a girly girl. I don't want them anymore. It's a lot of maintenance, a lot of too much for me. Like, I
Okay,
enjoy
what's a
having
stud
somebody
stud?
somebody who too hard. I don't date them. No,
Okay.
I'm scared of them.
Yeah, so she
I'm
like
scared of
me.
them.
I like because most of my friends, like my homegirls, are feminine,
Hmm.
and I'm just now at the age of 40. At at the tender age of 40, that I'm just now kind of really adding more like masculine women to my palette of friends because I'm I'm all this. My hands about as feminine you can get, and there's a part of me, there's a fluidity in how I express myself. I said y'all niggas too hard for me. I can't like.
Yeah.
I was like, it's you cool, but I can't be around a bunch. I feel like I'm around a bunch of dudes. Like
Yeah.
that, I did that in my young 20s as around an actual bunch of dudes in the hip hop era, and I'm done with that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like even those dudes from back then are now grown men. They ain't as hard because they ain't young and dumb. I can't be around women who are 40 something years old and they hard as hell. I'm like,
Yeah, because
you too,
that's
you young
for
hard.
me.
I can't do it.
For me, it caused me to start losing myself. Like, I was kicking around a bunch of studs who get haircuts and who walk around and be like, yeah, I'm gonna touch me not. And I started being like, yeah, me too. And then I'm realizing, like, one day, one of my other aunts was like, you out here looking like a dyke. And I was just like, wait, I look like what? I was like, no, I don't want to look like this. She was like, I don't want you to be so hard. Like, she's like, you're not hard. Like, be okay. So then
Yeah, you're not hard.
dating a no label and getting to experience dating a no label, she's taught me to lighten up and be more feminine. And I don't always have to walk around like I'm that nigga. No, you don't have to be that nigga. You don't have to be that. Don't be that stereotype of being a lesbian. You don't have to be super super thugged out all the time. You can be soft and you can dance like a girl and you can feel okay. It's okay to feel pretty. It's okay for me to tell you, hey, you're pretty, and I'm like, I'm not pretty. I'm regular. No, you're pretty. It's okay to be pretty. So I think a issue with a lot of studs is they feel like we still have
The
this
patriarchy. That's
this
basically the issue.
yeah, I would say this heterosexual mentality of it has to be a boy and it has to be a girl. And I feel like no, you can't have a boy and a girl in a lesbian relationship. It's just two girls. It's just two girls stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah. And you know what? I don't want to judge. Everyone's on their journey. You know what I mean? And sometimes people need to go to the extreme before they find their middle ground. And some people, that is it. They are hard as hell. But
Yeah, stud stud.
I'm just saying they studs. You know what I mean? And if that works for you, as long as that works for you, and that
Yeah.
that spreads love in your immediate surroundings, like that fills your universe with love, being a stud, then I don't want to judge someone on how they express
yeah,
themselves, but I think what we're saying here, just for clarity, because people are like, yo, don't be,
yeah,
judging
no,
motherfuckers, it's like, no, I think that your gender expression, the way you walk in the world, is an ongoing experience. And do not be afraid to change, to shift, to move and
Mm-hmm.
groove, to remold, to reflect, to let life come at you in ways that, wait a minute, life is teaching me something new about myself. Okay, I'm not
Mhm.
just going to block it because I'm supposed to be
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean? So we're just saying that until you on your deathbed, you are ever growing, like Angie Harvey says, you're ever growing, you're ever changing, and the last person that should stop you from changing is yourself or the greater
Yes.
society.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's the power in being queer. You know,
Mm.
say word. Say word. Oh God, we ain't got no time in the letter, y'all. Sorry. But let me just interject and say this because we kind of went on side on our usual format. We usually have a little break, but let's just have this break now to say that this is the first time that we are coming to you live. We're trying some new things, and if this works for us, then we're going to continue to bring Sunday Brunch to you live. But Sunday Brunch this time is for everybody. But Sunday Brunch really is for our Patreon supporters, our Sunday Brunch supporters. So if you want to be with us live every fourth Sunday with our special guests, just go on over to patreon.com/your gay aunties and click the Sunday Brunch tier. It only costs $10 a month, and then we can have this great interactive experience with amazing guests. And let me see what else we didn't say in the beginning, in the middle, Red. That's on you. I'm passing the baton to you. That's you. That's you. That's you.
Well, I hope that you found this podcast space to be great for learning, advice, growth, love, and laughter. If you are regular listeners, maybe you've picked up a gem or two from the show. We have decided to immortalize these auntie quotes and make them into auntie merch. So we have t-shirts and sweatshirts
Ooh.
and lots of other things that are available on our auntie shop. So you can go and check out all the goods at the link that is posted in our IG bio at Your Gay Aunties. Also, you can give us a shout out on Instagram and Twitter. You can catch those auntie quotes that you think should be on a shirt. You should let us know. You also can record questions that you have. You can send us questions. All of those are in that link tree right there in our IG bio.
Word. And we love your letters, and we always want more. And with this new format, if it works out for us, me and Red are really seriously considering because we're going to become YouTubers. I think that is what's happening in the universe. We're going to become YouTubers.
Yeah.
So I think we're going not so much live, but we are going to be recording via YouTube and archiving our episodes on YouTube because we think that also it's going to handle those little audio issues we've been having from the beginning. Y'all who've been from the beginning, y'all know what we talking about. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
we always trying to make it better. We trying to be better. Anyway, so just we'll let you know via IG and Twitter what we're doing here, but we want to thank our wonderful, wonderful guests for this episode. Y'all two have truly inspired us. This has been our family month, and I know those who are going to listen to this episode to hear the love between you two, and to not for nothing see what love can produce in our offspring. And how they can break the legacy of pain and unacceptance in general in Black families. You know what I mean? Like, this has really been inspiring for me, and I'm sure for others who are struggling with this, or hoping they had a mom like you, Lauren.
I really do appreciate my mom for like honestly, she has become my best friend. Like, even with Auntie Red, her daughter, like, me and my cousin talk all day every day at this point. It's not a time we don't talk, but like we were just talking about it, like, having parents that accept you for who you are definitely changes who you are as a person, and it makes you a better person. It makes your ability to love other people better. So like, I definitely appreciate it, and I hope that we can be those, beacons for other people who need to feel some love,
Yeah, that's my broke best friend. There she go.
Well, Lord, I know that there are a lot of people who are going to listen to this who would benefit from being able to reach out to you or have that contact with you. How can people contact you?
You can contact me. I have a Twitter. I have an Instagram. It's all Low the Third, which is LEAUXTHE 3RD. Um, and I'm like, honestly, yeah, like people reach out to me, ask me about stuff all the time. So like, definitely, I would, talk to me. I like to talk to people. I like friends.
And y'all can't have my sister. She got enough people talking to her.
No, yeah, I'm tired. I'm through. I'm tired. But I'm gonna do a shameless plug. If y'all in the Chicago area, June 27th for my birthday, I am having a superhero and supervillain birthday party. Come on
Ooh.
out and join. And also, I have such a love of sisterhood and women that August 2nd will be my second annual Sisterhood in the Park. Women from all over come out and we party with the purpose and we collect sanitary items for women in shelters because it is the most needed but
Mm.
least donated item.
Mm.
So y'all come on out. Yana gonna be here. I call her Yana, y'all. I call her Yana.
You do that.
And but yeah, I just think that as parents, I think that we would have so few issues. I think that if our children were able to walk in their truth like our girls, honestly, some girls end up having 3 or 4 kids only to be able to then to say, I really am gay. But this is what I thought, feeding back on what Lauren said, what I
Mm.
thought society wanted me to be. It would save a lot on this unwed mother stuff, on giving up your prized possession, which is your body, it's your temple, and abusing yourself and allowing others to abuse you. And no, and plus, I'm too cute to be a grandma this young. So I'm okay. I'm all right.
No, I'm really glad that you're bringing that up because we do have another guest that's going to be joining us for Sunday brunch, Lee is really talking about how many people in the LGBT community um, self medicate in
Mm.
order to
Mhm.
deal with a lot of the things that we're talking about
Oh
today.
yeah.
And so, how a
Mhm.
lot of our community is plagued with and almost built around alcohol and
Mhm.
drug use and
Yeah.
things like that, because those are the methods that we have in order to cope with what Lauren was saying, with not feeling loved, with not feeling accepted, the ways that we build community, and those often have very toxic results in our
Yes.
lives. And so that's definitely a topic that we are going to be discussing on Your Gay Aunties, and I really look forward to having that
Oh
conversation.
yeah.
Word.
Oh.
And just we got one more week of Family Month. So if you we want more photos of you and your dear queer family, whether it's your
Yes.
given family or your chosen family. We want to put them up because we need to see each other. We need to know that we exist in a state of love.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. And with this is the last week. Yeah. So no. But anyway, so like Red said, next month is about the our relationship with intoxication. So
Mhm.
letters speaking, if you got letters where you find yourself in a hot mess because you got intoxicated way too much at the wrong moment in the wrong place, and now you got this situation going on, or whatever the case may be, all the messy mess that
Mhm.
intoxication creates in life, or just your
Yeah.
Mm.
relationship with intoxication within your queer community, what you've experienced, what you've seen, and you want to have better insight on, or what have you, just send those letters to your gay aunties on Instagram, your gay aunties at Gmail, or your gay aunties on Twitter. And with that being said, I'm Hanifa Walida,
And I am Red Summer.
and we are your gay aunties. Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
babies.
Bye bye.
Love, love, love.